This is Damien Marie AtHope, and I am an Axiological Atheist, which can simply be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. And if that sounds confusing, just think of it as a way of evaluating stuff. It's an evaluative thing that's approach to philosophy. And I'm here with a guest who is an artist and a painter and an atheist. And go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Yeah, hello. My name is Knut Vikshåland. I'm a Norwegian artist. I'm a type of, I would say, a Christopher Hitchens type of atheist or anti-theist. My heroes are like Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, of course, Dawkins and Anarcho-Humanist, and several other of these more prominent atheists in the world. So sad to say Christopher Hitchens isn't with us anymore.
Yeah, really.
In fact, but that's how it is. I make paintings and I make YouTube videos where I paint and show people how to paint. And I talk about atheism, life, everything in my long and sweaty videos. Quite long, actually, many of them. But I just can't shut up. I can't seem to kind of... And also some of them are just tutorials with music and stuff, but, you know, so...
Yeah, and that's really interesting. And I really wanted people to know about you because I thought it was really cool to have a person who does painting, not just painting, but also does instructional videos. So you're trying to give back to the world and to the community at large. And I thought that you're an atheist that people need to know about.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, and I also wanted to ask you. So when you grew up, did you grow up religious, or can you explain that?
No, I had kind of a grandmother that was a religious fanatic, actually. Not a very kind person, but very religious. And I don't think it worked that much. She almost became 100, and at the end of her life, she started to doubt the whole thing, and she couldn't find it in a way when she was scared. And it was a very sad thing, really, because she had spent her whole life being religious, and then at the last 2 weeks, it kind of... well, anyway, and my other grandparents were just basically relativistic Christians, and my parents, my mother used to be a kind of religious, okay. My father more like a deist, and no religious upbringing. No, I had sex from I was a young kid, no problem. There were no boundaries on me as a person when it comes to that at all. So I have no grudges against religion from my childhood in any way, actually. I can't even remember, I don't think I can remember any bad things actually about it. I remember my confirmation, we were just laughing and thinking about the money we were going to get. So no, it was, but I wasn't naive deists, or I believed in some kind of Christian God type of afterlife, but it could easily have been, a belief in Thor or Odin if I was brought up in that. Right. It wouldn't really matter if it was just a relativist thing. I really believed there was a life after death. I did that because I couldn't even comprehend that my life would be meaningless and don't have a greater purpose. But all of that went out the window when I lost my belief in free will, which is basically the basis for punishment and basement for religion. The notion of free will is the basis for most religions, that we need some kind of overlord and somewhere to be punished after death.
Right.
So, yeah.
For improperly using your free will.
And then I just moved into understanding that my subjective opinions wasn't objective reality. And then the gods disappeared in a puff of logic. But I was so sure that it was an afterlife that I was arguing with my brother once and I had this discussion, I was so sure that for me, when he would say there is no afterlife, and I said, yes, there has to be an afterlife, because if not, my life is meaningless, and my life can't be meaningless, therefore there has to be an afterlife. And you see this kind of debate going on among Christians and atheists. The religious people just can't fathom that their lives are meaningless. Actually, Sam Harris has a great talk, lecture about that is called, I played it today, it's called Death and the Present Moment. You just have to look it up, it's brilliant. And he starts by talking about how atheism for most religious people means that you're going to die. So, that you're going to cease to exist. And I think you have to become quite a grown-up person to accept that, because in the beginning, when I got this shock, it was like a shock. It was like going from standing on a rooftop with a sunset in front of you, in total bliss, life is meaningful, it's beautiful, it's going to continue forever in some form, to basically being hurled this building or rock right down to reality, and bang, from that on, gravity was my only god, if you and science and stuff like that. So,
right.
So yeah, it was despite not being religious in any real form, the belief in something were so great that I just couldn't understand it until I lost my belief in free will and understood the difference between subjectivity and objectivity. And that is actually when you discuss with the religious, if you can get them to realize the difference between personal belief and objective reality, if you can get them to see, to get them to parse that C, to use,
right.
Yeah, if you can do that, they're on the right path. Because there is no difference between these things for the religious person. And you see that also in politics, you see it even among atheists and even among intelligent people, that a strong bias can even get atheists to act like religious people. And you see this in politics, how politics are partitioned into different fractions, where what we really should have done was to look at the facts and create a world based on science and maybe traditional humanist philosophy.
Right.
So,
well, Star Trek did that.
Yeah. So, okay, I've been ranting for.
That's fine. I was saying Star Trek did that in the sense that we could have a world where everyone's working together.
Yeah. There wouldn't. If we can get rid of religion, I think even nationalism will go out the same window. Because when you open up and you start to see that you aren't special,
right,
or everyone is special. It is like the amount of money we are using on this coronavirus in both Norway and the US. I mean, this kind of money could actually save every poor person in the world. And
we should be doing that.
Yeah, and so if it was about actually saving people, they should have done that. Or in America, they could have used it on all the homeless. And they would have saved much more people, or the drug addicts, or the people who doesn't get their good food in parts of the city where you can't really get any good food, only the crappy food.
Right.
I mean, I understand there are some problems with that, with fresh food, and so you keep on eating the things
they call it food deserts.
Huh?
Food deserts. We're an area where there's nothing really good.
And I actually think that because if you constantly not get the right nourishment for the brain, you will become depressed, and then you will become angry, and if you then have this, and you have a lot of weapons on top of that, you have the recipe for mass shootings and all the shootings you see because Americans are killing each other more than other countries.
Even countries with
And
guns.
there's just as many weapons in Norway, shotguns and rifles and stuff like that, that you have in the US. So it might be some of it might be in the food, and the fact that people are using way more antidepressants in America and stuff like that. Okay, this is a digression. As I told you before, I'm the master of digression. So yeah.
But I also wanted to address with you that how did you get into doing art? Did you always do it? Like when I was a kid, I used to, even 5 years old, I was drawing stuff.
That's quite funny, really. It's a funny story because I was a very creative kid. I've always been creative in whatever I did. Actually, even as a welder, I taught myself to weld with both my hands. I can actually write with both my hands.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a dyslexic a little bit, so I write. My grammar isn't that good, but I can actually have two handwritings. So, and I did that with welding, and I did that for a few years and got my kind of welding license, so I could actually earn money, quite good money today, just by welding in a North Sea or something like that. But then I had some problems with
the
welding
fumes?
smoke and all the dust, because I have a little bit of asthma allergy to too much dust and stuff. So I got, through the union, I got the chance to get a new education. And personally, I've always hated being under authorities.
Right, I understand that.
So since I could choose, I actually had a girlfriend called Heidi. And because there was not that much to do in the shipyard right then, so you get, you don't get laid off, but you get, you kind of get paid, but you don't go to work for a while. And I was sitting there, I was training, going to cafes, and she said, "Hey, get a hobby." And she threw a pen to me. And I just sat down and drawing, and my brain is very hyperactive. When I was young, I was training boxing and karate after working 8 hours a day in the shipyard, okay? So I was just on all the time. And when I couldn't do that, I just had nowhere to put it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So when I started drawing, it was like my brain just, like alcohol, like the first glass. Have you ever had abstinence, like you feel like you want to drink?
Yeah.
Okay? That's how I am as a person. It always feels like I want to do something, okay? I want to do something. There's some craving in me. I don't know what it is, and it kind of looks a little bit like alcohol craving, because I was drinking more for a while, a few years ago, and I had alcohol abstinence on Fridays and stuff. I had this from 11 o'clock until 8 in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening to 1 o'clock in the, I had abstinence, and I was so strong that it was only the glass. That if I took one glass, it was like that. But the drawing did the same thing. Every time I put my pencil on the canvas, my brain just goes into the zone. It's like dancing, it's like basically training, having sex, or just walking, having conversation. It just focuses and it becomes silent. And that was why I think it became love by first. I did draw a lot when I was a kid and stuff, but you get into puberty, you start running after the girls, and you forget about it like most people do.
Right.
But when I started again, that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how. I could actually send you pictures of my first drawing and my second drawing. And it's just like a 10-year-old. But 2 years after, I'm drawing the same girl, and it's just totally different. So because I went into it with all of me, I was able to learn quite quickly. It's actually harder now, because when you come to a certain point, it's smaller and smaller steps. It's it's basically like you will never be able to. How is it with infinity? You will never be able to reach it, no matter. No, there is a mathematical thing that you will never be able to reach it, but the steps will become smaller and smaller. It's some mathematical equation or something. I don't remember exactly what. Probably somebody who listens now will see this will know. But you will never, as you, in the beginning, you progress very fast because you take these big steps. But the steps become smaller and smaller. Yeah, the doubling effect. It's smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So, we're not doubling it. I will forget about that. But you know what I mean. It's like in the beginning, you do this, big steps. And then the steps become smaller. Because you have learned more. So you're getting closer to what's good.
Right.
But the steps are smaller. So your capability of reaching it becomes harder and harder and harder. And you as an artist know what I'm thinking of. In the beginning, you learn like a child. And then you start basically learn like an adult. And that is much more difficult, when you cross over into that realm.
Oh, yeah, I agree. You practice a lot more than I do.
Explanation, but it's getting harder and harder. And I know that I will never reach my goals because my goals are Rembrandt and Turner and Vermeer and all these great artists. And I know that I didn't have that tutoring or that kind of education they had. I started very late when I was 21. It's like starting playing the piano when you are 21 instead of 10 or 5. It's a big difference. But then again, I worked like crazy and I learned like a child in a way. So, but for me to come, I think during my lifetime, I think I'm going to be able to reach maybe 75%, maybe 80, if I'm lucky. The first 50 was easy.
Right.
50 to 60 was really hard. And now I have to fight like a madman to get to the 75 or 80 or whatever percent of what I consider to be good. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
So how did you get into the desire to do videos of teaching?
Huh?
How did you get into doing videos that are teaching art?
Oh no, teaching. I just like it. I just like. Maybe it's some vanity thing in it. Maybe it's just. It is like when you. Okay, it makes me feel good. And it was a coincidence that I started this YouTube channel actually. And the other one I had was stolen, so this one is totally brand new. I was hacked and stolen, so I had to rebuild again.
That's
the whole thing,
unfortunate.
and it's going very slowly. But anyway, fuck that. It's not my income anyway, so I hoped it was going to become that sooner or later, though. But so I could actually do whatever I want. And no, I just like the feeling of giving. I've been like that all my life. I like the feeling of sharing. I like the feeling of interacting with people. And of course, it's great when people send me a message and tell me that they actually started up painting because of me.
That's wonderful.
There was a woman that just won a portrait competition in London now. One of these famous competitions. I don't remember the name of it, and she told me a couple of years ago that she started up again her painting because of me, and now she won this competition.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That is actually touching a person on a distance. I talked with a girl in Iraq, which loved my painting. And she had problems with her family. She was an atheist, really. She didn't really believe, but she started not wearing hijabs, and she, all kinds of shit. So you can actually touch people through the net, and some people, of course, hate that I talk about religion because I know people who are deeply religious who love what I'm giving and what I'm teaching them. And I'm trying to have this truth. I don't want to start mixing. If I have a conversation with them. I rather not want to talk about religion.
Right.
Because I'd say we had this discussion, and you know what I mean. I know what you believe. I know you are sincere in your beliefs, and I take no pleasure in punching down, if you know what I mean. But if they insist in going into the discussion,
right,
then all bets are off. Then all bets are off, okay?
Right.
I used to be more strident. I used to be more competitive when it comes to that. I've toned it a little bit down. I don't need to... If people are discussing religion or saying I'll pray for you or whatever, I can say thank you and then give a thirst comment. But if they really want to discuss, like a friend I have, which actually is a priest in his own little congregation, he always wants to discuss with me. And I've told him so many times, friends, I like him, he's a fanatic, and he even thinks he can heal. He was actually going to heal my hips because I had this double hip replacement last year because of all my training. So when he's here in my parties, I've been to parties here with his wife, and she's nice and he's nice. But at some point, he wants to save me. Yeah. You know, he really wants to save me. I mean, just think about this. If you actually believe that a person you like are going to hell, I would like to save them. I wouldn't be able to. If I was a Christian, I would be the type of Christian that would probably go to Israel to save Jews for Jesus, okay?
Right.
I'm pretty sure about it because, I mean, I love the Jews. I love Israel. I actually do. And of course, I'm against circumcision and all that shit, but, you know, I love the idea of the Jews. They are great in science, they are very intelligent, they are high culture, and so, but I would actually probably try to go to Israel with my friend Steinar, his name is Steinar, and save Jews for Jesus. I could actually see, if I was a Sunni Muslim, I would have gone fighting for ISIS. I'm pretty sure about it. I would take my beliefs serious. I would have been the kind of type of person who would have gone all in. I'm pretty sure about it. Because I'm not half anything. Okay?
So then how are you about your atheism? Which is a good question.
Well, I have a couple of groups and stuff on Facebook, which I actually made a few years ago.
Okay.
You know, sitting and arguing about the same things over and over and over again, the same arguments, and these people are not going to learn anything anyway. And you can't possibly, it probably has never happened that a person just changes his mind like this. So I'm not
even if they did, there's a lot going into that happening. In other words, like say if I just talk to you and then the last thing I say, you become an atheist, you may have already been doubting anyways, you know what I'm saying? And then I just said something you kind of felt inside, or I said something you never thought about. Right, so I'm just saying, even if it did happen, it's not like it, you know.
No, that is why I saw that. If you want to change their mind, you first have to get them to understand the difference between objective reality and subjective opinion. Because for the religious, it's the same thing. There is no difference. Even my mother, which is on many levels a very intelligent person, aren't able to see that the smoking is killing her. Okay? Because she has made special rules for her own sake, because she's in love with her cigarette. And of course she also insists that there has to be an afterlife, because it's hard for her to understand that there isn't. And the thing that also happens, which of course Sam Harris talked about also in that talk, and other people too, is that when you realize that there is no afterlife, you actually go to all the funerals one more time. This time, they aren't in heaven. Right. This time, they are just annihilated. So if you have lost some child or something like that, I can actually imagine it must be really harder for them to become an atheist, because then you're not going to meet your daughter or your child or the loved one you lost again. It's gone.
Right.
So,
but it's also it's real.
What's the silver lining in being an atheist? Well, the silver lining, as I see it, is deep introspection, or a deeper form of introspection, where you actually have to deal with the most basic. You can't do like this to the fact that reality sucks.
Right.
This shit just happens, okay? There are certain things you can control a little bit, but, I mean, I had my hips removed last year, and I told my father, and some other stuff happened in my life too that came out from the side, which I didn't see coming. And I ironically told him, well, the next thing now is a stomach cancer that kills me in a half a year or something like that. That would be typical, you know what I mean? It would be like, I would just say, yeah, that makes sense. Shit like this actually happens, and it happens that it happened to me. So I don't think it would surprise me, actually, if something like that happened. So that is a benefit. Like Christopher Hitchens, when he got the cancer diagnosis, he said, well, the chance of me living after 5 years is like, or 3 years were 5%. And he just tersely said, well, it's not the odds I would have picked. Okay? And he said, well, if we had the why question was just a silly question, because the universe doesn't even bother to answer. Why not? I mean, he drank and he was eating and he was smoking for many years, and naturally that's what happens to him. So, I mean, atheism should also, maybe, I see that doesn't necessarily happen, both in politics and in life in general. But I think atheism should lead to a sort of realism that makes you maybe act a little bit better also against yourself and other people, that you get some kind of realism. But I see that many atheists are very far on the left.
Yeah, I'm far on the left.
And very quick to call people racists.
Some people
I'm
are.
Racist. You know, I made that Muhammad painting on YouTube and made that painting. And I was called a racist, and I've been called a Jew-loving Nazi.
That's
okay?
Crazy.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And it comes not from the right or the religious, it actually comes from the left. So in my opinion, much of the left has become also a sort of religion, which you of course saw both in communism, and there's no a real difference between, the only real difference between Nazism and communism, because Nazism is also National Socialism. So it was actually socialism.
Well, it's not, it's actually fascism. It's
racism.
Yeah, but I know, but it's fascism is not socialism. There's nothing socialist, the actual meaning of the term, the people all working together, and nothing to do with that. Hitler was on top. Well, it was a hierarchy. But
the fascism, like I see it, is the fact that if you disagree, you have to do it anyway. Okay?
Well, you're just talking about a factor.
Me personally, I just want to say my politics. No. My politics are more like a libertarian, but I want, because I don't believe in free will, I know that concept can't work. Because if there are no rules, or anarchist or whatever, if you don't have,
Well, anarchism is not no rules. It's no rulers. In other words, we can make rules, but the society should figure out the rules, not someone on top deciding.
I would agree, but then actually the philosophy
right. So well, and the term libertarian originally only meant anarchism. It had to do with liberté from France in the 1850s. So not until the 1950s was there right libertarianism.
Okay.
So that's 100 years of libertarianism just being leftist. Then since the 1950s, that was added within libertarianism. But it really the point is, you're making global things. So you're saying the left is in all left. Democrats are called left. I know. Let me finish though.
This time I said parts of it.
Well, I'm just saying because okay, so I'm not a Democrat. People that are Democrats are considered left, or even some people call us far left. I am the far left. I am an anarcho-socialist. I am way on the political map. I'm way far left. They're way over here. They're so far from me. They're on another planet. But yet you're calling them the left, and there's leftists all in between. All kinds of left, just like the same thing would be for the right. So I'm just saying, so even I don't like the right, but I don't make every single part of the right the same. There's the extreme right that's,
There are people who are not on the right, who are called on the right.
I'm just saying that even there are people on the right. There's people on the right.
People thinking I'm on the right, okay? And in many ways I am, and in other ways I'm not. I don't have a politics. In Norway, we have is it at least 7 relatively big political parties. In America, you have basically 2, and that is ridiculous. That is strange to me because it's such a big country.
It's about power.
Why the more left-wing part of the Democratic Party actually start a party, and then maybe the right, the ones who are more not on the, I wouldn't say on the right because it's so strange to say right or left. I mean the people who are more like me. I will have a flat tax that everybody paid, no matter how much you were earning. If you earned underneath that, you didn't pay any tax. But even if you earned billions, you wouldn't pay more than that tax. Because there are some truth in that it is the rich people who are making the jobs for the average person. So I have no problem with, if you, as we discussed this the last time whenever the sound went, we could say that we had this discussion.
Yeah, this is the second discussion,
I think it's a little bit different. It actually functioned better than I thought, actually, because when we're, so
hold on a second.
I am for the common good. I'm for the common good. I wrote in a painting called The Human Condition. I'm actually going to post a little video about it on YouTube in a while. I write something in one of the paintings where I say I personally doesn't want to live in a society who doesn't want to sacrifice me for a greater cause, okay? Because the greater good is more important than me personally. But for me, I'm the most important thing in the world, next to my daughter, my parents, and you know what I mean? So I wouldn't sacrifice me. A statue is enough. I have no idea how many people I would not save to save myself. I have no idea if I'm a hero or not. So I don't want to live in a society where I can choose not to be sacrificed for the greater good. I will say it like this, okay, we are driving cars, people get killed, like 70,000 people in America get killed in car accidents. Well, I personally are okay with being sacrificed for the capability of driving cars.
Well, but you're not saying actual sacrifice.
I'm willing to, during the Second World War, when they had to bomb cities to take out the Germans, I would have been willing to die in a rain of fire from my own allies to save the day for the greater good. But for me to sacrifice myself directly, knowing I would die, I don't know if I'm that kind of hero. And it's very hard to know if you are. I actually painted one of the heroes Gunnar to be his name. He was fighting against the Germans during the Second World War. And he also painted Samuel Steinmann, the Jew that was a Norwegian Jew who was sent to Auschwitz. One of the few, 19 of his family members were killed in Auschwitz, was sent from Oslo to, and he didn't even get back his store and his family business when he came back after spending 3 years in Auschwitz, or 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. And it was really strange meeting both of these people. They were in the 90s, both of them, when I painted them.
Wow.
Both are dead now, sad to say, but, people die, so. Yeah, and...
So what did you say that was your most rewarding painting?
For me, it's like, socialism for me has this Einsreitung. It's too straightforward. It's too many rules. It's too narrow. There is not enough room for creativity and personal growth in traditional communism or social. That is my opinion. That is what I have experienced.
Right.
And
but hold on a second. Hold on a second. So socialism and communism are not the same thing, because there's 12 or 11 kinds of socialism.
I've heard that argument before, and
the other thing is this: you said creativity can't happen. Did you not say that in Norway that the government, or is it Iceland, that pays for the artists?
Norway is not a socialist country.
That's not what I asked you. I said
Denmark is not a socialist country.
I asked you.
Hold
on a second. Hold on. But I asked you, does Norway or Iceland? You told me something like that one of them is pays for the artists. Is that correct? They're basically the government basically pays for the artists.
Yeah, and that's a problem because
but which country? I can't remember. Which country?
Norway is supporting basically all culture through oil, pumping oil in the North Sea.
Okay, so hold on.
Universal healthcare,
right?
Through oil in the North Sea.
Okay, but that's the source of the money you're talking about. What I'm talking about is the behavior. So are you saying that no artist in Norway is actually doing art because they're getting it socialized? So you said
socialized, but
if that's correct, then you were wrong. You said creativity cannot happen under that kind of a socialized thing.
I don't mean that creativity can't happen during communism, because there will always be the creative scientist or the creative artist. Well, of course, if you start burning books and paintings, you can't really be an artist. But I mean, you can be creative. I will say, in a communist country like the Soviet Union or something, you could probably be a creative scientist, because science was necessary. Okay, and if you can't be creative, you can't do any science. You saw what happened with Germany. They killed off all the intelligentsia, and they couldn't even make an atomic bomb in time. Okay, if they didn't kill all the scientists.
Yeah, but they didn't. No, that's not accurate. Because America's atomic program was run by Germans that came from Germany, people that came over, scientists But so what I'm saying is that there's scientists that came over that were German, not Jewish ones, but ones that were part of the Nazi Party, but wanted to escape.
I mean, if you weren't a Nazi in Germany, if you were a scientist and you didn't get into that program, you would have a serious problem.
Yeah.
If you're Jewish or not Jewish, because it's a truth that many of the most intelligent Jewish people fled to America when it was possible, or to England, or even to Israel before the whole thing went up in smoke. So they lost a great part of their intelligentsia to that. And I guess there was probably a lot of scientists who just didn't work with it under that regime too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, one reason why people came to America. I mean, obviously.
I I'm actually for a market economy with a humanistic face. I want people to be able to get rich and prosper if that is what they want to do, because usually you have a trickle-down effect from it, and you get a more creative, dynamic society within a capitalist society. But it's very important that
but you could say the opposite. In a capitalist society, you're more prone to art towards money.
A little bit important here that you take care of the people who really needs help. Like in Norway, you have social security. I guess you have that also in America. But you also have to make sure that it doesn't become a cushion. So you have a system. If you get social security, you have to do some work. You don't get free money. You have to go to school, or you have to get up in the morning and do some kind of work for that money. So you actually get into some kind of routine so you can start rebuilding yourself. And the problem in Norway and other countries in Western Europe is that we haven't had a good system for that. So people who go into social security or something like that, they just stay there because they get so much money that it's almost, it's quite good actually. You can live off it, okay?
Well, so, I don't know what they pay in Norway, but you can't live in any kind of a...
They pay your rent, they pay your electricity, and you get...
That's a lot more socialist than America, believe me. You don't get... if someone's poor, you get enough to kind of like pay for food. I mean, you don't really... Okay. And I was broke, right? And I wanted some money. And in California, when I was living, they have this program where you have to pay the money back, but you have to have no income, like nothing in the bank, zero. Well, a person that's that.
Same thing in Norway.
Well, I'm saying, and I had 2 cars, right, that I needed to pay on, and I used the car to drive 30 miles to the job, and they said, once you lose the cars, then we can give you a loan. And I said, but if I lose the car, I'll lose my job. How much?
A loan will become a problem because you're just gonna.
Exactly. Well, but you
it shouldn't be a loan. It shouldn't be a loan because that will just make it worse.
Well, but I'm just saying that I had to be even lower income than what I was to get any assistance. And the assistance I could get would be a loan, but I couldn't even get it unless I owned nothing. I mean, it's destitute. I'm like, at that point, how does it get paid back? And they said most people don't pay it back. And I'm like, what good is that? What good is it to break someone?
Well, if you then start earning, if there is interest on this shit, they will just keep on multiplying.
Well, it wasn't even for interest. You just pay back what you borrow. Because it had to do with almost like a government assistance.
Other thing in Norway, which is quite, you have to maybe take some student loan in Norway also, but I think the interests are quite low, and some of it can be transformed over to a grant or whatever if you actually do the exam. I think stuff like that should be on the states. But there too, because you don't want the eternal students that are using this to just go around having parties and not doing any studying. So there must be some kind of riksdagsstele, we could say, when there has to be, this thing has to be around to whip these people into actually studying so you don't throw money out the window. But I mean, I was actually having this discussion about oil, and because the oil prices are now going up and down and the economy and people are driving less cars.
Right.
And now you can actually see how in Norway, because Norway is very vain. We have a lot of oil, we use a lot of oil money. But they are talking about CO2 and the environment all the time. But it's all fucking bullshit, okay? And I've seen this.
But what's bullshit? CO2?
It's bullshit. It's just a vanity politics. You're just talking. But in reality, every politician in Norway, even the ones on the left who really want to burn down the whole oil production, knows that this society wouldn't be possible without it. As it is now, Norwegians are the ones who throw away most electronics. Why do we do that? Is it because it doesn't work? No, because we have so much money, but come a new iPhone, they just throw the other one away or sell it for some low price or something like that, So, and that's what happens with a society if it becomes too rich. And Norway is a very rich country with very high wages. But what happened now when the
what are the wages? Just wondering.
Oh, it's like New York level plus 2, maybe. I think it's New York plus 1/3 or 2/3. It depends what kind of work you're in.
Wow.
In Norway, actually, a bartender or something get a full paycheck, so they don't really need tips. So
well, I think that's how it should be.
They don't give that much tips in Norway because they get paid like a worker. Okay, so you can actually make a living from it.
Well, that's how it should be. I don't think that. I think working for tips is.
In New York, you have to give a lot of tips, and I do. When I've been in New York, I always give a lot of tips because I think it's nice to do that. You know, if I could go to New York and live in the Marriott on Times Square, I could actually give these people some tips too. You know.
So could you tell us what's your favorite painting you've done, and then tell us what favorite video you're most proud of? You know.
Oh yeah. Pride is.
Or the one you like the most, the one you feel has the most impact.
The word pride is kind of, I don't really understand what that is, but if I would personally be the most proud of, or that I felt came closest to my objective standard, which is the Jewish guy, the Samuel Steinmann painting, which you also find a video to on YouTube. I play a full documentary series called Auschwitz in the background when I'm painting it.
Wow.
So it gives it a little bit more of an eerie. I got into some troubles with the music in it, actually, this documentary.
Yeah.
But after removing that, I actually was able to put out the whole video. And it's nice to hear because it's a very good documentary about Auschwitz. And they are making interviews of people who was on both sides, and it's brilliant. It's really good. Called just Auschwitz, the history of Auschwitz, how it evolved and everything. And since I met this guy who was there and photographed him and painted him and did all these things, it made it even more. And the painting became quite good. I actually say, not often I say that about my own work, but I felt I kind of, also with the other guy who, Kjartan Gunnarsson to be, his name is, that portrait too of this resistant fighter was actually before, it was in 2010, so it was before I started making videos. And I'm wondering now, we're going to paint a new one, a huge one of him sitting with, and one more of Samuel Steinmann, and try to give it to the museum for the freedom fighters in Norway. I would like them to hang in that building beside each other.
That'd be cool.
So I'm wondering about making them and just give it to the museum, if they want them, of course, and they probably will. I would like to do a redo of both of these, and then I will, of course, post videos on YouTube and more talk about painting and stuff. So I guess that is the two most important things I've done until today. I'm also doing a painting of Christopher Hitchens, and I will do some more of him. I will also start to make a series of paintings that is more political. I will make, it's going to be about science, religion, porn, famous people, like people who have meant something, like Carl Sagan, and, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah. Take pictures from the series, the series, Brian Cox series, Wonders of the Universe. Try to make an exhibition that is called Just the Human Condition. I actually made the Muhammad painting and the Human Condition. It's two of them. I actually made some also back when after the second Iraq War. I took some screenshots of the first bomb that hit Baghdad, and I painted them like Turner-esque. Wow. And this Christian guy I know in America, his name is Kyle. He's a very good painter, actually, but he's really Christian, okay? But he just loves these paintings. He just, don't you do this again, you know? He wants to know how he did it. And I might also do that, so we'll see. You know, I have, on average now, 28 years left to live, and I've seen the best ones because I'm 52 now, and, you know, the aging process is, I'm trying to hold it back by keeping healthy and not drink too much and and work out and stuff like that. But you know, the aging process is accelerating as you grow older. So
feels like that to me too.
I'm kind of out of time in a way. I just feel I can now see, like Christopher Hitchens said in before I actually got cancer, and he says, "I've seen up the road. I know what's coming." You know, and 4 years after that, it was in 2007, he had this debate with Rabbi Wolpe or something like that. And before the debate, they had a little talk with the media, and he said, "I've looked up and I know what's coming. Nobody gets out of this alive," and you know, and now he's dead. I actually told a friend of mine that I was afraid that Christopher Hitchens would die because he was drinking so much, and 3 or 4 years after that, he actually died. And I showed you that book, you know, I have, because I met him in the New York 92Y, after the Tariq Ramadan debate, which also is on YouTube. The Tariq Ramadan was called Is Islam a Religion of Peace? And I got his signature.
Right on.
And, yeah, age 22. And it's like, it's not, I'm not into hero worship, but, you know, I actually cried when Christopher Hitchens died. And the ironic thing is, I'm sitting in the funeral for my 100-year-old, she lived 7 years on 100 before she died. The one who was a Christian fanatic. I'm sitting in a church, listening to a woman priest talk about heaven and hell, and my friend sent me a text message, "Hitchens is dead." And I said, no! I mean, that 100-year-old woman who couldn't hear and basically see anymore, she was clearing her head and stuff, but died. That was natural. Hitch. So I was sitting in a church when I actually got this message. So it was, and the year before that, I actually had a brief conversation with him, and so I miss him. I really miss him, because I also think that the politics now has become so even more extreme. Very important to not be too entrenched into one's own bias. And as atheists, we should really make a strong. We should really try hard not to be like this, okay? Because even us, despite not believing in gods and all this shit, we tend to go for our own bias and our own groups, and often it turns into too much, either you're this or you're that. And I don't want nothing to do, I don't even vote anymore. I don't care. I don't do rats. I don't even vote anymore.
Oh, vote, yeah.
I really don't care anymore about democracy, because there is some, you know, democracy, mediocrity. Democracy leads to mediocrity. It doesn't really lead to the best solutions. I mean, say that CO2 is actually a real problem. Actually a problem.
NASA says it is.
It is actually a problem. That the science is rock hard. Actually, Freeman Dyson said no, it isn't actual, and he was a mathematician and statistician. And he said it contradicted it.
Yeah, but
say that it was actually 100% true.
It is.
If the politicians actually believed in it, if the Norwegian politicians actually believed that, they wouldn't pump any more oil in the North Sea.
Well, but that is if they're being moral. Someone can know something and then still do the immoral thing. I mean, you're assuming that every time someone knows something, they do the right thing. If that was true, a lot of people would get out of religion.
No. I assume that when you personally are promoting something, you should live it.
Which is a standard that I don't disagree with, but I'm saying is, but there are plenty of people that have standards and don't live by them at all. I mean, there's plenty of people that know things.
As we had the debate about porn.
Yeah.
I've been against porn for 20 years. My diaries.
But then someone may look at your art. Right, but someone also may look at your naked art and call that porn. My mom would call that porn. She would say that you're perpetrating porn.
that's kind of a simplistic. When I talk about porn, I talk about an industry. Okay.
Well, I know we already had this talk, and like I said, I am against human trafficking. I'm not against people choosing to do stuff.
I can't know if this girl is this or that. I can't use it because I can't know.
And that's your personal thing, and you should stick to it. As you said.
It's like I had discussions with friends who actually buy sex when they are in the other countries and stuff like that. And some of them doesn't even want to have me with them on a vacation because they can't do it. They feel bad in front of me, you know.
Well, I have no problem with people that do that.
I have paid burlesque models in New York $300 to do photo shoots. I don't do porn, it's just aesthetic photo shoots. And if they want to do a nude photo shoot, they could do that. If you didn't want to do that, they have clothes on. So it's like, yes, an artist needs models, but you shouldn't. For me, and we had this discussion, for me, sex is when two people are fucking, you know.
Or 4 or 5.
Yeah. And
because
I don't think a prostitute actually want me to give her a, not blowjob, but you know what I mean, okay?
You want to give her a blowjob?
Yeah. And doing that with a prostitute, if you think she may have 3 other dicks in her earlier that day, I mean, maybe it wouldn't even taste that good. I don't know why.
Most prostitutes are going to be washing themselves. So most prostitutes, first off, are going to be washing themselves. And if they're not, then you have more problems than just the prostitution.
Of course, it's not the point. The point is that I wouldn't buy a person.
Right,
that way.
And I understand. Just like I believe that people should have the right to be modest and prudish. I'm a nudist. I'm for free sex. I have a So, but I think the important thing about rights is to know that other people can have the exact opposite, and I still support
free sex too. I mean, as long as you don't rape children, you can fuck whatever you want for me.
Yeah. But people do all kinds of crimes like kill people and murder children.
I saw this man once who got this pig to climb onto him, and this. I mean.
And you don't watch porn?
I watch so much shit, and I took actually Jordan Peterson very on his word there, and I've done that before too. I've seen so much shit that performance art, and he stood against a white wall, and they put a shotgun in his mouth, and they pulled the trigger, kind of being a lost artwork. I'm sure somebody will do that sooner or later, if they haven't done it already. I wouldn't even be shocked. I've seen so much strange shit, and I would say, typical, you know.
Speaking of, we're going to wrap it up real soon. So, can you tell us, do you have any plans for the future, or what your goals are, and what you would like to do?
Well, what I would like to do is, of course, make that exhibition, The Human Condition, because it's very important. And I also would like to write an essay to every topic, because I have a lot of ideas in my head, and I think I'm going to be able to. It's like Christopher Hitchens did say. If you can talk, you can write. If you can think, you just have to write your thoughts. My problem is, of course, organization. That is not my thing, okay? Yeah. And that is what's holding me back. So I have to get better to organize myself. I have this human condition, and I have a lot of just beauty I want to make, just for the beauty's own sake. For me, painting is about to paint, actually. It's not about politics. It's not about something I want to say to the world. That is a different part, but I can combine them. So I will be a little bit more political in some paintings. I will just do aesthetics in other paintings. I'm going to do a porn series. I'm actually going to start with a huge amateur porn painting. Actually, one of the most beautiful amateur porn films I ever saw. It's just stunning, and the girl is stunning, and this real kissing. I don't have no idea why these people are filming it, but they are, and it's kind of dissolved, but the colors and everything is just gorgeous. So I'm gonna paint that quite big, and I'm gonna paint a series of porn, a series about science and war and death and poverty and the universe and nature and people and stuff like that. And I will do a lot of aesthetic stuff. So that's my plan. I have actually 20 big paintings, which I started in 2014, which still aren't finished, many of them, because I first had some depression and then I got my hips that tore me apart for 2 or 3 years. So I'm just kind of getting back to this good flow again. So I have a lot of plans. Sometimes there's so much that I feel like I'm drowning. So I have to try to get things done. And slowly, like a rat through a wall, to get the cheese on the other side, you just have to start digging. Yeah, you just start digging, and hopefully you will get through sooner or later. So
that sounds great.
My plan for the future.
So could you go ahead and tell us where to find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on YouTube, basically on Facebook. I'm on Twitter too, but I think I'm shadow banned because of that. I used to post so much anti-religious stuff, and Muhammad paintings stopped my YouTube channel from growing. It was stolen anyway, so now I was slowly starting to grow again now, but I think they shadow banned me for 4 years or something because of the...
Wow.
If you go and see that painting process, I play the whole Quran. It's like 20 hours of painting. I'm painting the front page of the Charlie Hebdo, but I changed, I sprayed over "you are guilty" in French over "you are pardoned." Mm-hmm. And then I sprayed over Charlie, I sprayed over Muhammad. And I remember when the red spray pen was starting to run a little bit down, I thought, this might not be good. And actually, my Iranian taekwondo teacher, he said, Knut, you have to be careful. These people are crazy.